Time now for the BA Breakdown, heard this time every Tuesday on the KRMG Evening News. Broken Arrow City Manager Michael Spurgeon joins us. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Skyler, how you doing, my friend? Great to talk to you.
Glad to have you here with us on the BA Breakdown. I wanted to get right into something that we touched on last week. We briefly talked about Aspen Ridge, the development going in there at Aspen and the Creek Turnpike. We know it's going to have the Reesers. We talked about that. You mentioned how they wanted a little more space. We are covering today how part of that extra space that they're being given is going to be for a playground, which is really cool, something they wanted to do for the community. You mentioned, I know we can't talk names yet, but there's some national companies expressed interest there. I want to take a closer look at that whole thing now and talk about some of the new details that were discussed at last week's city council meeting and were put out yesterday on the city's website. First, I know some people who live around there are excited about it all, but I'll start with this. I know I've seen some questions and concerns from people about traffic. Some are saying it's the next 71st and Lynn Lane, which, we've covered that deal here. Is the city confident that the roads as they stand can handle the traffic to come there?
Yes, we are. We've looked at the potential traffic impact as a result of the development being there, and obviously you've got to take that into consideration when you're looking at the development. We feel very confident that the road system in that area will more than accommodate the growth that we're going to experience. We do have a couple of the roads within the area that are currently in the design phase for widening. For example, a little further south from Tucson or 121st all the way to Indian Springs Sports Complex. That's currently under design, and we ought to be able to widen that to 5 lanes sometime in 2024. So we've been working on that area, and we will continue to do so to make sure that it will accommodate the traffic that we're going to experience with the new development.
So even if it's not there now, it probably will be soon.
Yes, absolutely. It's something we just have to, as ongoing, we're going to have to look at traffic and make sure that we're trying to predict where there could be issues or the need for expansion, and then make sure that we put anything that we do think there's going to be a concern or a need for growth, we'll put that in the 2027 bond package that we'll present to the voters.
I saw some comments and questions on Facebook about the TIF district too, the tax increment finance district there. Can you give us a brief overview of how that works for the people who are unclear? As I understand it, it's really affecting the folks in that immediate area.
Well, actually, a tax incremental financing district is a tool that's in the proverbial economic development toolbox that the city has available to help provide incentives to stimulate growth in a particular area. And in this case, the city went out and borrowed $14.5 million to actually help with the installation of the infrastructure necessary to promote the private investment. And I think that we're going to see that, because you're talking about our agreement with the developer is that by July of next year, there will be approximately 200,000 square feet of commercial retail in that area where Aspen Ridge is, along with about 160 luxury type apartments. And the developer is currently working with the church property there to actually turn that into retail and commercial. And that doesn't even include the land we acquired for our new innovation district. And so we put together the financial report that determined that the amount of property and sales tax we're going to generate will more than pay for the debt service that we need to help pay for the infrastructure that is necessary to stimulate the development in that part of our community.
Reading through some of this, Michael, it sounds like things are going to be starting to happen really quickly. If you drive by there now, you can see progress. I'll ask you to talk about what we see right now, but then it sounds like there is a deal where once initially things start moving, then the city expects things to really speed along once that first shovel is turned over.
We do. We've essentially completed the initial infrastructure that we need, which is the road system, the decorative lighting, the traffic signal. All those things are coming to fruition, and it's all going to culminate within just a few months. You're going to start to see the work with the new Reeser store, which is going to be approximately 65,000 square feet, come out of the ground. And we should be able to see that progress in just a few months. And once we have the Reesers underway, I do believe that the developer is going to give us authorization to start making announcements on some of the businesses that they have letters of intent, and eventually we'll have contracts they'll have executed that we'll be able to let the folks know the businesses that are coming. And our goal is to make sure every part of Broken Arrow, the residents have access to great businesses. And we're excited the fact that we have a developer that has those relationships with both local and national site selectors, and you're going to see a lot of the same businesses in that area that you currently see on Kenosha near Lynn Lane in our community.
I don't know if you want to speak on Reeser's behalf or if you feel like this is something you can touch on, but I saw some comments that I thought were a little unfair. It said something to the effect of, Reeser's already abandoned South BA, so why do we want him here? That's not really what happened here, and as I understand it, Reeser's and the city worked closely on this whole thing anyway.
That is absolutely not what happened. First and foremost, where Reeser's was located at New Orleans Square, they were renting the facility. And they had been, and Reeser's, the board had to make a decision, and it was a huge financial investment that they were faced with having to make. They did not own the building, and according to Jeff Reeser personally, in order for them to make the modifications or the renovations to that area they were renting, that square footage, plus the improvements that they would need to expand the store, they could have been spending between $6 and $9 million, and there was no way they were going to get a return on their investment. And so they made a business decision. It was not a decision that the city had really anything to do with, and we understood it was a business decision. They never stopped working with us with their intent to want to be in South Broken Arrow. Jeff made that very clear to us from the time they said they were leaving up until recently, and they've just been waiting and watching the traffic counts just continue to increase to justify the investment that they're making. So we're very happy that we were able to share with them that the traffic counts are there now, and that area is only going to continue to grow. It's a great company, and we're very happy that we were able to demonstrate to them that they're going to have a return on investment, and then the developer working with them to build this new store about 65,000 square feet.
Michael.